and I'm from Kentucky. Now y'all might wonder what I'm doing here. Well, I'm looking for these bad boys. Yep. Gold nuggets. Now I can see y'all think, what the hell is that crazy cowboy here doing looking for gold in your country? Well, let me tell you all a little story about Roy Miller and the Unfound Gold. Roy Miller was a gang member back in the 1880s. He was a member of the Cold Fist McFlurry gang, led by Dig Phase McFlurry, one stone cold son of a gun. Now the gang was mostly known for robbing gold mines, but the law was growing stronger at the time. Gang after gang were cut and hanged. Now Roy Miller wasn't the brightest cowboy, and he wasn't shy around a bottle of whiskey, so he got picked on a lot. So tired of getting picked on, Roy thought enough was enough. So one day he decided to rob his own gang. So when the rest of the gang was asleep, he quietly took the gold and got the hell on out of there. He walked to the nearest railroad station, so he hopped into the first train that left for the New York harbor. So when he got to the harbor, he had to wait a day and hopped on the first boat that left for Europe. Now after a few weeks, he finally arrived in the harbor of Rotterdam, but he still didn't feel safe. So he started roaming from town to town way up north until he got to Drenthe, in a quiet little place called Steenbergen. So when he arrived there, he kind of liked the place. There was a lot of alcohol abuse, so he fitted right in. Now at the time, people over there lived in old flag huts. So Roy started looking, finally found himself an old abandoned flag hut that he started calling his home. Now people over there were pretty poor, and Roy had a lot of gold, so scared that they might rob him, he decided to bury it. But not in one place, so someone might follow him, he would lose it all. So he buried it all over Steenbergen, no more than a few nuggets at a time. Then he started making maps of all those places, so when he needed a little piece of gold, he could find his way back and trade it in for some money at a local bank. Now Roy finally thought that he was safe, but what he didn't know, that about 15 minutes after he took off with the gold, the gang woke up and quickly knew that Roy was gone with the gold. So they were furious, mad as hell. They started looking and looking, and Roy was nowhere to be found. So until finally one bright cowboy saw some footsteps in the sand, and they started following him. It led him to the nearest railroad station, where the last train that left was for New York Harbor. So they had to wait a few days and hopped on the next one that left for New York Harbor. But when they arrived in the harbor, they just saw the boat leave for Europe with Roy on it. But Roy didn't saw them, probably too busy drinking. So they decided to wait a few weeks and hopped on the next one that left for Europe. Now when they arrived in the harbor of Rotterdam, all they had to do was ask for a drunk, ugly American guy who wore a strong odor of alcohol around, that led them from bar to bar and town to town, until they also arrived at a quiet little place called Steenbergen. Now that same day, Roy just got back from a hard day of drinking and decided to go back to his old playground and take a nap. And when he almost was home, he saw his old gang, and it shook the living daylight out of Roy. The gang saw him, and they all started running. So he quickly ran into his old flag hut to get the maps and got the hell on out of there. But after running a few hundred miles, Roy thought if they catch him, they also got the maps and the gold. So Without a panic, he flew him as high as possible, hoping with the strong wind that was blowing that day would blow him straight over the tree line and into the woods. Now, living there for a few months, Roy knew the place pretty well, so it was pretty tough for the gang to catch Roy, and at one point he even thought he wasn't touchable.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Well, after a while, the gang finally caught up with Roy, and a big gunfight went down. But outnumbered by man and bullets, Roy had no other option than to give up. So they tied him up, and Dickface asked where the gold was. But Roy wouldn't tell, so Dickface said, "No more alcohol until you tell where the gold is." So Roy couldn't take it no more and told about the little maps and the gold. Then he got a rope around his neck, and they dragged him into a tree. That was the end of old Roy, but the beginning of the story of Roy Miller and the Unfound Gold. Now after they hung Roy, old Dickface ordered his men to split up and go look for those maps. Well, he walked a few miles for himself. When he got into the end of the forest, he saw a big lake with a few maps floating in them. Now the problem was he couldn't swim, but he was too far away to get the boys. So he went in for himself, hoping the lake wasn't going to be too deep for him. But after just a few steps, it did. He sank to the bottom like a brick. Now that was pretty much the end of the Cold Fist McFlurry gang. Because when they found out the big buzz was gone, they all started fighting with each other over the gold and who should be boss. So after some shooting, only one member was left, but he got homesick and went back. That's how the story got back to America. Now throughout the years, a lot of people have been looking for gold around here. Most of them got chased away by angry ghosts of dead gang members. Some of them even disappeared, never been seen again. Now you all know about the gold. You all might want to look for it. Well, I hope you got some nerves of steel, and my advice to you is bring some extra underwear because you might need it. Good luck to you. Now get the hell out of here.
3 shades of black is where I come from. Depression, misery, and hellacious fun. No, we're not the kind to turn our backs and run. 'Cause 3 shades of black is where we come from. We are a certain breed and we don't like you. Some are junkies, some are freaks, and others are everyday ghouls. No one will ever know what we've been through, and we are proud in the light of the moon. 3 shades of black. 3 shades of black. We all like metal and whiskey, living hard and chasing down hell. We'll never give up on what what we have, 'cause the darkness gives us our thrill.